Hello and thanks for joining us on NTA News Nationwide. My name is Joy Osiago. Welcome. A book titled The Genius Orator in honor of late Damasani Kano Alhaji Yusuf Maitama Sule has been presented to the public. Vice President Yemi Oshibajo at the occasion described late Damasani Kano as an exceptional orator who believed in the unity and indivisibility of Nigeria.
Alhaji Yusuf Maitama Sule Damasani Kano was an exceptionally gifted orator. But his greatness was not in the gift of oratory. It was in the exceptional character that undergirded that gift. In great detail, the importance of the task of recording and documenting history can never be overemphasized. In their prologue, the authors made a somewhat depressing observation, which I shall quote, and the author himself mentioned this, and I quote them. As we traversed the country and encountered the surviving political gladiators of the First Republic, we came upon the reality of a generation that had virtually passed on. We met old persons in various stages of mental and physical fitness. End of quote. This observation should alarm us. We must ask ourselves, who will document these important stories before the principal actors and characters pass on? I'm reminded of the African proverb that tells us that when an old person dies, it's the equivalent of a library being consumed by fire. Where are the biographers and the filmmakers who will record these things for posterity? Who will teach our children about the exploits of our Maitama Sules and about the ideals of unity and integrity and service which they modeled for us?
Former Vice President and Chairman of the occasion, Atiku Abubakar, said the book will serve as a constant reminder of the late Damasani's laudable contributions to the socio-economic and political development of the country.
That was conducted before writing this book must have paid adequate attention to this aspect of his life. I want to thank the writers of this book for their contribution to our administrative, diplomatic, educational, historical, and political developments as a nation. The study cannot come at a more opportune time than now.
Collaborators for it, that they were painstaking and in researching and bringing this publication to fruition. Second, the views contained in the book were not only a reflection of the impressions of his biographer, but also actual interview with Maitama Sule himself.
Areas of dissatisfaction which led to the strike embarked upon by members of the National Association of Resident Doctors of Nigeria have been addressed in a reconciliation meeting held in Abuja. The meeting, convened at the instance of the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngigi, agreed that the outcome of the renegotiated memorandum of terms of settlement is to be presented to NERD members by Friday this week, with a view to suspending the strike once there is evidence of payment to the affected institutions. Emmanuel Anyemiro has the details.
Issues addressed include approval to pay salary shortfall of 2016 and January to May 2017, although the shortfall in August 2017 those not on the IPPIS platform. The meeting, however, agreed that all those not on IPPIS must be captured in October to reflect a 100% payment, as September salaries were already at advanced stage of preparation. The meeting equally agreed to correct stagnation of promotion of members as well as remittance of contributory pension.
Will appeal to state governments and organizations that owe salary shortfalls / emolument to help workers to make genuine efforts to liquidate these areas in the spirit of revamping the healthcare system in the country.
The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation is to employ checks and balances in disbursing government funds, while the Central Bank of Nigeria is to provide additional funds for payment to the affected federal tertiary health institutions. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the non-teaching staff union of Nigerian universities have threatened to resume their suspended strike unless the government moves to honor the memorandum of understanding reached in January this year concerning the full implementation of the agreement in 2009. The unions, after the emergency national executive meeting held in Abuja, say they have waited 8 months for government to begin implementation and that their members are running out of patience. Issues highlighted are similar to those of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU.
In 2009 and now in 2017, we are still demanding for implementation of such agreement. Does it not show that we have been exceedingly patient, having comprehensively cleared from our members and gotten a direction from them? We hereby announce that the Jack of Nats, NASU and SANU has directed its members to embark on comprehensive, total and indefinite strike action effective from Monday, 11 September 2017.
The three unions, the National Association of Academic Technologists, NAT, Non-Academic Staff Union of Education and Associated Institutions, NASU, and Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, have been appealing to government to carry out full implementation of the 2009 agreement. The federal government has promised to mobilize resources to commence dredging of River Benue and construction of drainages to avert further occurrence of flood devastation in the state. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo stated this while on a sympathy visit to Benue people. Ilyasu Aliu Yakubu completes the report.
The visit of the Vice President was greeted with a wide range of jubilation and cheers among the people. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was accompanied at the camp in Makudi by the Benue State Governor Samuel Utom, Minister of Power, Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola, and that of Agriculture Audu Ogbe, as well as State Minister for Environment Ibrahim Jibrin, among other government functionaries. He assured of federal government support to the plight of the victims and promised their immediate relocation. While thanking the Benue people for their unflinching support for the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said the federal government is working assiduously to create more job opportunities for the teeming unemployed youth in the country.
I've already provided the immediate solutions. The IDP camp is ready. One of the things that the president wants us to do is to find a permanent solution to this perennial flooding in Benue State. So I think we're well on course.
Benue State Governor Samuel Utom thanked the federal government for the immediate response to the plight of the victims and promised to ensure judicious distribution of the relief items. The Vice President later paid a visit to the warehouse where the federal government relief items are kept. Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
Farmland worth millions of naira have been destroyed by flood in Tsonga Edu local government area of Kwara State. Deborah Agbola completes the story.
Mainly, the flood affected rice, maize and cassava plantation of Tada, Chiji, Patage, Bafita, Yimage, Kusoge, Pelegi, Tuganguare, Tigandade, and Tugan Nasebe communities in Eju local government areas of Kwara State. The farmers, while counting their losses on the 471 hectares of land, said the irrigation farm was financed by the Central Bank of Nigeria in collaboration with Lower Niger River Basin Development Authority and Kwara State government.
The demonstration farm we have here has been affected, over 100 hectares that the ministry is covering here. The 50 hectares that we did for demonstration, where we did the mechanization, We are supposed to start harvesting by next week.
These 471 hectares here, we're expected to have minimum of 4 tons per hectare.
The Emir of Songa, Dr. Haliru Yahya, comments on the flood.
Noted repeatedly that the flood comes never earlier than mid-September. It can go as far as even early October. And this has been a trend for nearly a decade. For it to come end of August, it's unprecedented.
While calling on the federal government to assist in recovering their losses, residents of the communities also advocate timely completion of the Kanji and Jeba Dams beam to prevent future occurrence. Deborah Agbola, NTA News.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has commended the authorities of the Bayero University, Kano, for elevating the university's mass communication department to a faculty. The minister made the commendation in Kano shortly after inaugurating some projects at the new site of the university. Anthony Forson reports.
Projects inaugurated by the Minister of Information and Culture include the university's Faculty of Communication building, which comprises of the academic wing, multimedia complex, as well as the building which housed 3 radio studios, 1 television studio and a studio for the print. On the entourage was elder statesman and former minister Mamanga Tukur.
BUK is actually very committed, and they want to be the foremost university in Nigeria, if not in Africa, in the area of mass communication. We have seen the various studios, we've seen the performing theater, we've seen the academic blocks, we've seen the offices, and we've seen the provision for the postgraduate students. So what BUK is actually telling us is that mass communication is too big to be a department, and they are blazing the trail in making it a faculty.
Dean of the faculty, Professor Umar Pati, who conducted the minister round the projects, said the state-of-the-art equipment acquired for the studios are expected to arrive the country from the United States by the end of October. From Kano, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Update on resident doctors' strike in Port Harcourt. Let's join Mina for details on these and other reports in our Port Harcourt Network Center.
Hello Joy, thank you so much. Good afternoon and welcome to Port Harcourt. Skeletal services are still being provided at the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, even as Nigerians hope for better industrial resolution between the federal government and the National Association of Resident Doctors. The Barbarise Domanweke, who visited the UPTH this morning, reports that talks between federal government and the resident doctors seem fair, but the doctors are insisting on a percentage of their salaries before calling off the strike.
President of the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital chapter of the National Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Don Baridam, who is still in Abuja, is skeptical about federal government's ability to keep to its promise in meeting some of their demands as agreed. He made this known through a telephone interview.
The federal government, they've informed their offer, and then we need to sit down. The national president cannot call on the strike without calling the National Executive Council, and then we'll meet and we'll check the offer, we'll check the offer. And if you pay us percentages of salaries, they are owing us salaries for how many years? They said that they're going to, that by today, we'll see whether some centers will be, their account will be accredited, the institution will be accredited. So let us see how we take it up from there.
Meanwhile, the management of the hospital says while it plead with resident doctors to consider the plight of the masses, the hospital will make provision to sustain medical care for patients. Patients at the hospital say they are being attended to, although the process is very slow. They also appealed to the federal government to fulfill their own part of the agreement.
They tested my BP, they took my urine, they tested it, and they said I'm to see doctor.
They took our files to this place. The files are with the doctors. They are calling one after the other. So we are waiting for a turn too.
Although the federal government has made its offer, the national body will meet to decide on the terms. In Port Harcourt, Dibabari Siedmaweke, NTA News.
Rivers State government is to profile permanent solution to contain the devastating effects of flood in the state. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Banigo, said this while undertaking an on-the-spot assessment of the effect of flood at Emeka communities and its environs on behalf of Governor Nyesom Wike. Ogedi Nyekwere completes the report.
Recent rainfalls in Port Harcourt have left many residents of Emeka and environ homeless, destroying property worth millions of naira, a situation that necessitated the governor's visit to the area.
As we have seen it, we are carrying this message to the government, to His Excellency, and be rest assured that there will be an immediate support for all the displaced people.
Paramount ruler of Emeka, Eze Roland Woko, said the visit of the governor to the community is a hope in sight that the challenge will be contained, and thanked the state government for their quick response.
I can generally say our tear have been removed. Amen. I just want to thank God who have laid this burden on your heart, and He have arrived.
Emeka is one of the communities in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State and part of Greater Port Harcourt. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
Youths and different groups in Port Harcourt have endorsed Governor Nyesom Wike and urged him to run for 2019 through a 4-kilometer march in Port Harcourt. Ogedi Nyekwere reports that the march was in appreciation of Governor's outstanding performance since assumption of office.
The walk tagged Walk for Wike Season 2 took off from the Port Harcourt Pleasure Park through My One Flyover, Azikiwe Road, and terminated at the Government House, Port Harcourt, and had thousands of youths with various banners.
Come 2019, Governor Wike should put himself up for a contest. We will march the whole 23 local government to support him, to campaign for him, and to ensure he wins in 2019.
You are aware of the several projects of His Excellency Governor Nyesom Wike. From the infrastructures, you can see several kilometers of roads, both within the city and outside of the city.
It's a work to endorse good governance. It's a work, to highlight the benefits of good governance in Rivers State.
Having seen what he has done in the past 2 years plus, our people felt that we should encourage him.
Unprecedented attachment to the people. He has passion for development. That's why he does not hear anything. He does not see anything. All he sees is tomorrow.
Governor Wike, represented by his deputy, Dr. Epalibo Banigo, commended the youth for identifying with development.
We have had a purposeful leadership that see that we take to the people as well, what they call citizen engagement.
High point of the walk was the presentation of a portrait to the governor by the leader of the Source Connect group. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
And that's a bit from Port Harcourt. Joy, it's back to you for the rest of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Mina. And in Abuja, following the recent declaration of the federal government classifying hate speech as an act of terrorism and insisting that offenders will be charged under the Terrorism Prevention Act 2011 as amended, a cross-section of FCT residents have supported the law to help reduce malicious statements capable of fueling violence in the country. Patience Gyok Christopher, who sought the opinion, now reports.
Comments which attack a person or group on the basis of sentiments such as race, religion, ethnic origin, disability, or gender. The recent upsurge of hate speeches in the country has assumed an alarming and dangerous dimension, which many say it is capable of heating up the polity and foiling divisive tendency in the country. Hate speech is usually intended to instigate hate, anger, violence among people, and a cross-section of FCT residents say the ugly developments must be curtailed as it is not a good legacy for the younger generation.
It shows lack of confidence, lack of love. If we begin to talk bad about one another, what are we teaching our children?
Hate speech can only bring war and suffering to any land, and
that is not what is good for this community or this country right now.
Aware of the looming danger of hate speeches to the unity and peaceful coexistence of the country, the federal government has decided to classify hate speech as an act of terrorism. Some FCT residents commended this step of government in trying to restore sanity in the country.
It's okay. It will serve everybody's right. It will put everybody in their proper position. You understand? It will, no. In fact, everybody will know their right.
If I were the federal government, my decision would be more drastic.
It requires really a stringent measure to make sure that people desist from making such speeches, because it can engulf the nation.
Government should draw a line between what's a hate speech and what's criticism, because you can't criticize the government and get punished for being a hate speech.
Residents are of the opinion that it is high time hate speeches give way for positive discourse that will fast-track national development. In Abuja, Patience Gail Christopher, NTA News.
The federal government is concluding plans to draw up processes by which real owners of businesses registered in Nigeria will be known. Towards this end, the Federal Ministry of Justice has called a meeting under the Open Government Partnership to get contributions for the process. Femi Okeo reports.
Government partnership which the Nigerian government signed up to in June last year, the Federal Ministry of Justice has continued to pursue transparency in various sectors. This time, it is on the beneficial ownership in businesses, which the federal government says has always been concealed to give room for corruption by the powerful who register the companies.
Because we've realized that we have to embed the issue of beneficial ownership within our legal framework. And we are talking about corruption, but let me also say that knowing who is benefiting from a company helps us to also fight issues related to drug trafficking, financing of terrorism and tax evasion.
A review meeting on the intended process held in Abuja attracted various governmental and non-governmental bodies such as NAETI, Corporate Affairs Commission and the BPP. Officials hope that when concluded, the process will block studio registrations that end up milking the nation's resources. In Abuja, Femi Okeo, NTA News.
Preparing youth for political leadership took center stage at a forum in Lagos. Let's join Demola in that zone for their contributions. Hello Demola, good to see you after several years.
To see you, Joy, and it's good for you that you are back with us here on NTA. Now, the strike action declared by the National Association of Resident Doctors 4 days ago is still on, despite reconciliation meetings between the union and government. Joy Ken Abapoya monitored activities at government-owned hospitals in Lagos.
At the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Luth, Idiaraba, it was obvious that the strike is beginning to take its toll on clinical activities. Only consultants were on duty carrying out skeletal services. The situation was the same at the National Orthopedic Hospital, Igbobi, and the Federal Medical Center, Ebute Metta. Only a handful of hospital staff were on duty attending to a large number of patients.
We are about 50 strong medical and doctors and residents also, and we're in total compliance and in solidarity with all our members all over the country.
The striking doctors insist that there's no going back until their demands are met.
The negotiations are still ongoing. I think it ended early hours of this morning. Information will be passed down. For now, the strike still continues.
Patients are, however, hopeful that both government and the National Association of Resident Doctors will reach an agreement soon so that they can once again start receiving adequate medical attention. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abapoya, NTA News.
Political office holders have been enjoined to exhibit exemplary leadership qualities capable of inspiring future leaders to embrace public office with a mindset to serve diligently. This was at a one-day political gathering tagged Nigeria's Emerging Political Leaders Forum in Lagos. Musa Toliat completes the report.
It was a gathering that attracted political bigwigs who were saddled with the task of sharing their political experience with the youths in attendance. This was aimed at encouraging them to see leadership positions as a veritable platform to contribute their quota to national development. There were several plenary sessions where past and serving political leaders bared their minds on addressing money politics, gender equality, and tackling challenges militating against active participation of women in politics.
The women too should encourage themselves. If it's in you, have the courage and the confidence. And then it's important to have an enabling environment that makes it possible.
You just need to have equal opportunities with the man. All right? And this puts you on a scale of balance.
Discussions on building enabling political structure was an integral part of the forum.
There has to be a connection between the existing generation and the emerging generation. So what we're trying to do is to bridge the gap between both generations, connecting the generation that is going with the generation that is emerging and letting them share experiences and knowledge from each other.
Question and answer session heralded the one-day forum on emerging political leaders. In Lagos, Musa Toliad, NTA News.
Well, those are some of the stories we are tracking at this hour from Lagos. It's back to you, Joy, for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Demola. The Nigerian Air Force says it is intensifying operations in the northeast to wipe out remnants of the Boko Haram terrorists. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar disclosed this in Abuja during a meeting with Principal Staff Officer. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
The meeting brought together branch chiefs, air officers commanding and field commanders to review and re-strategize on operations of the Air Force, especially in the northeast. Enumerating achievements in the period under review, the Chief of Air Staff said 5 Super Mushak trainer aircrafts have been delivered from Pakistan with 16 pilots trained. Over 1,900 recruits brought into the service, in addition to 106 direct short service cadets already posted to various formations.
We are not yet done. We must redouble our efforts, especially in the northeast. I know we have commenced an operation in the northeast, which is aimed at further degrading Boko Haram. The operation code name Operation Ruamuta, which has commenced. We are going to massively dominate the entire area and make it extremely difficult for anybody that is there that is a criminal to come out to kill innocent Nigerians.
So far, the Air Force has flown over 1,077 hours in Operation Lafia Dole in the northeast in the period. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
Consolidating on Nigeria's exit from recession by pursuing the economic growth and recovery plan is capable of getting the effects to trickle down to the average Nigerian. This was the aggregate opinion of guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria this Thursday. Victor Azu has details.
Nigerians were this week greeted with the cheering news of the country's exit from recession. The challenge then became how to see the soothing relief trickle down to the average Nigerian, just as the hardship did during the period. Economic experts on Good Morning Nigeria, while acknowledging government's efforts at steering the country out of the murky waters, they also proffered solutions on how to sustain the development and take policy decisions that will impact on the populace.
Economic theory starts with agriculture to industry and then to services. And that's what's happened. Agriculture recovered, industry after 9 quarters recovered, and then the last sector to recover will be the services sector. That's what we're saying, it's a gradual, and that's the part that affects the common man. And that's why the common man right now is saying, I don't feel it. But
what has happened now is that government has managed to actually rescue one of the variables, which is GDP, but we are still struggling with inflation and struggling with unemployment. Once the three are moving in the right direction, then we shall be seen to have been out of stagflation. That is when you start seeing the benefits on the tables of Nigerians in their livelihoods, and also the challenges of unemployment will start simmering down.
Enshrined in the economic recovery and growth plan, there's really need for emphasis on small and medium scale enterprises.
And of course, that will not be possible unless there is, many people have access to credit facilities. And that calls for banks to come up with new products that will actually ensure easy accessibility of credit facilities to people.
We must keep our eye on the ball of improving agricultural production, of improving our infrastructure, either power or is it roads and rail. We must keep our eyes also on ensuring the availability of petroleum products and indeed deepening our oil and gas sector so that we add value to crude oil instead of just exporting it.
Now what is left, however, is fiscal policy to fund aspects of the economic recovery and growth plan that would sustain the recovery. I think that is what is needed now.
Executive Chairman, Society for Analytical Economics of Nigeria, Godwin Owo, calls for cautious optimism.
Where the missing link is actually to dovetail the analysis into the financial aspect of recession and what we normally call the balance sheet recession, which in itself is the actual quantitative hold that has to do with the entire fiscal operation of government, both fiscal and monetary. Now, if you leave that out, then you end up rotating around statistics that perhaps may have been generated through estimates, a lot of opinions and sentiments.
Overall, the guests agreed that an improvement in employment generation, focus on agriculture and manufacturing, among others, hold the key to a buoyant economy. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Federal Capital Territory residents have commended the FCT administration for completing the AYA bridge, which has facilitated traffic flow from the Abuja-Kefi Expressway. Mitari Ikben tells us more.
Motorists from the Abuja-Kefi Expressway are having a field day accessing Abuja city center through the AYA bridge, recently completed by the FCT administration as part of its policy to continue with all projects inherited from the last FCT administration.
This is the best thing that has ever happened in this administration, especially to us that lives in Karu. No hold up, no traffic, under a few minutes you are home. In fact, it's really commendable.
Every morning, every evening is a road that used to have a hold up, that people get to work late. But since they opened this road, you can leave your house in Karu, Maraba, wherever you are, and within 10 minutes you are in town.
It's a democracy dividend, so this is what we are praying, so that we'll be reaping the dividends of our democracy.
They appealed to the FCT minister to ensure the completion of other road projects that will ease transportation in the nation's capital.
We want the FCT minister to work on the Karishi Road. I think once that is done, every other person living in the Karo, Jukwe and Maraba area will be very free, and they will be happy with the achievement of the minister.
The FCT administration hopes to complete and open more roads under construction in the coming months. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Let's pause for some messages. Nationwide returns shortly with more reports. Stay with us.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There is no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
O God of creation, direct our noble cause. This will be the prayer of over 10,000 youths of Nigeria. The National Youth Council of Nigeria presents a 3-day special day of prayer and fasting for our dear country, Nigeria. Special prayers will be offered by Muslims and Christian faithfuls. The prayers as follows: prayer for the nation Nigeria, prayer for the President, Vice President, President of the Senate and distinguished senators, Speaker, Federal House of Representatives and honorable members, Chief Justice of the Federation and the Judiciary, secret agencies, youths of Nigeria, the states and the governments and the Northeast IDPs, national unity, security, well-being of Nigerian economy. Date 6th to 8th September 2017. Venue Eagle Square, Abuja. Time 4 p.m. daily. The grand finale will be on Friday 8th September from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. This information is brought to you by the Youth Council of Nigeria in partnership with Belema Foundation and Jack Rich Tien. The event is managed by a PA to the President on social events. God hear our prayer.
The health delivery profession is one of the most abused professions in the world, especially in our part of the world.
We be doctor.
Everybody is a doctor. Everybody is a pharmacist who peddles and prescribes drugs, herbal remedies, and treatment procedures.
It dey cure HIV, it dey cure AIDS, it dey cure curiosity, it dey cure anger.
What type of drug cures all these ailments?
Alas, some sanity needs to be achieved before we completely go over the ledge. Your rib-cracking comedy, Professor John Boo, takes a satirical look at this ugly trend this week in the episode titled Street Doctor.
Prepare some rice and pepper soup for him and ensure he eats it. If he fails, shove it down his throat if you have to. Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
Another edition of TV Guide magazine is out with revealing accounts of trending stories. With the dwindling oil revenue, he says there is no reason to worry.
We strongly believe that culture is Nigerians' new oil, and we're going to show that by creating wealth, our art and culture will be a statement for all of us.
Our cover story is on Otumba Olusegun Runchewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture. For upcoming TV presenters, Elegant Elizabeth Banu tells you what it takes. A peep into the activities of the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative, a mandate being fulfilled. A trip to the Yankari Games Reserve and Safari in Bauchi State brings you closer to nature. And the Oshun Oshogo Festival, our culture, our pride. Professor Adiku, the Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, tells us what it means to manage a university, plus our regular features, star profile, media issues, relationships, young minds, entertainment, sports, and lots more. Pick your copy now at the vendors or at every NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, still your indispensable copy.
NTA TV College Jos invites NTA staff on grade level 13 and below due to retire in 2018 to a pre-retirement training scheduled to take place as follows. Badge 1. Participants from Makurdi, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, Enugu and Benin zones. Date Monday 11th to Wednesday 13th September 2017. Venue Television College, Rayfield, Jos. Batch 2. Participants from Sokoto, Lagos, Kaduna, Jos, Ibadan and Abuja zones. Monday 18th to Wednesday 20th September 2017. Venue Television College, Rayfield, Jos. Management Announcer.
Reorganized, trained, and fully equipped, we are the new improved Nigeria Police Force. We fight crime, we bust syndicates. Whatever the crime, wherever the hideout, the Nigeria Police Force will get you busted. Stop kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, pipeline vandalism and other criminal activities. Be productive, be security conscious. Join the police force to secure your life and property. This message is from the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Department.
Thanks for staying with us. Government of Ogun and Oyo states intensified efforts towards amicable settlement of boundary dispute between the two states. The Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General from the two states, Dr. Olumide Ayeni and Mr. Olusegun Abimbola, exchanged memorandum as part of the process during a meeting in Ibadan. Lekon Agbonde completes the report.
The exchange of memoranda was born out of the joint decision of the deputy governors of Ogun and Oyo states to set up technical committee to look into the lingering issues regarding boundary disputes with view of resolving them. The committee resolved to present memoranda in which each party put into writing its position in order to find a common ground and put the matter to rest permanently. The Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General of Ogun State, Dr. Olumide Ayeni, and his Oyo State counterpart, Mr. Olusegun Abimbola, met to exchange the document in Ibadan.
Message was sent out that our communities along the disputed border areas should continue to maintain the peace while we look into the issues with a view to resolving them.
We'll have a final resolution, and I believe that all parties will abide by that final resolution.
The parties have, however, agreed to meet on the 28th of November in Abuja to find a way of articulating areas of agreement. Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Security Summit for Traditional Leaders held in Kebbi State. Salamatu in our Sokoto Network Center will bring us up to speed on these and other reports from that center. Hello, Salma.
Thank you, Joy. Good afternoon and welcome to the seat of the Caliphate. Zamfara State Office of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program has flagged off the distribution of 350,000 plastic bowls to primary pupils across the state. The distribution, performed by Secretary to the State Government, Professor Muhammad Abdullahi Shinkafi, was received by education secretaries from 14 local government areas of the state on behalf of the pupils. Halur Muhammad Umar reports.
We sincerely apologize for that break in transmission over there. And back in Abuja now, many groups and organizations have staged a peaceful rally through major streets of Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, in support of the Buhari administration. The rally, held under the auspices of the APC Integrity Group, says the president needs the support of Nigerians to transform the country. Awal Abdullahi has details.
Impressed by the performance of President Muhammadu Buhari since his return from the medical vacation, various groups took to the major street of Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, to demonstrate their love and support for the Buhari's-led administration. While chanting the solidarity songs, the groups displayed placards with various inscriptions as they traversed major streets of the city center and terminated the rally at the State Secretariat of the All Progressive Congress. Ambassador Hassan Jika Ardo, who led the procession, said the groups were very impressed by the performance of President Buhari after his return from the medical vacation. He said since his return, the president has engaged in several national assignments for the nation's development, hence the need to give him a desired support and cooperation.
Yana zuwa ne don gabatar da kansu saboda addu'o'i da musulmai da kiristoci da kowane kabila muka yi a nan. Allah ya dawo da Baba Buhari lafiya haka kuma ya dawo da shi.
He said that the rally is a clear expression of their happiness and appreciation to God for answering the prayers of Nigerians, saying for them as a group, they will not relent in their continued prayer for the president to enable him succeed in his agenda of repositioning the country. In Jalingo, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says additional 5 trucks of assorted relief materials are on their way to Benue State to complement the initial 8 trucks already on ground to ameliorate the suffering of flood victims. This step, according to NEMA, is to take care of preliminary assessment of the disaster. Ilyasu Aliu Yakubu completes the report.
This is the warehouse where the 8-trailer loads of assorted relief items sent by the federal government 5 days ago to alleviate the sufferings of flood victims in Benue State are kept waiting to be distributed, even though the distribution is still sketchy.
Today again we brought about 100 bags of rice, including those ones that have been contributed by individuals and organizations. And you know that the store is being controlled because it's not only in Makurdi that this thing happened. At the end of the presidential visit, we will now distribute them to those who doesn't have.
The victims of the flood disaster say there should be equal distribution of the relief materials.
Sometimes there are little things like close-up tissue they are sharing for lots, but back they are sharing plenty things like rice.
I believe that if they want to share something, they will start from the first block down to the floor, to that side, to this side. They will go up. They will not do it like that. They will carry those things to down there.
But the way I want to share something, they will go at back. Some people come there for yesterday. They will start from back. We are here.
Those houses, people feel inside, and the way they are feeding us was not normal. It was yesterday that things started that it will be normal, and we are sleeping on the ground.
Investigations show that 21 out of the 23 local government areas of the state are worse affected by the flood. More than 230,000 people have been displaced and property worth billions of naira destroyed. NEMA team leader search and rescue, Air Commodore Sonny Paul Ohemu, gives highlights on the situation so far.
You can see, if you go around, you will see how we are distributing these items to them. Things are going on very well here, and they don't seem to have any problem. Initially, yes, people come, the people didn't want to stay in camp. But of course, when they saw that we started bringing things, now that's when they started coming in here.
Other donors have given relief materials to complement federal government efforts. Benue State had in 2012 experienced similar flood disaster that displaced thousands of people and destroyed property worth millions of naira. In Makurdi, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
And for a bit on religious matters, the 2017 Hajj has come and gone. Pilgrims from various parts of the world last Monday completed their Hajj rituals in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Already some have started leaving for their home countries, while others are still in the holy city observing prayers and other forms of worship. Abdullahi Mustafa examines the lessons pilgrims could learn from the religious undertaking, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam.
Mecca is the holiest site in the Muslim world. It is the birthplace of Prophet Muhammad and where the Quranic revelation first descended. The Kaaba is also situated in Mecca. Similarly, it is only in this city that Hajj, one of the 5 pillars of Islam, could be observed. More than 3 million Muslims came for this year's Hajj. As usual, the pilgrims undertook various rituals of the exercise, from staying in the tent city of Mina, standing on the Arafat plains, spending a night at Muzdalifah, and stoning the Jamarat, to the circumambulation of the Kaaba. The pilgrims had a rigorous experience during the 5-day exercise.
One cannot even recognize him, no matter how important he is.
Where we walk without entering vehicle, we walk up to wherever we are going, and we mix together.
The basic lesson I learned is brotherhood, patience, and perseverance, which I really see it in practice, in demonstration.
Hajj, an Islamic scholar, Sheikh Halur Maraya, says, is an institution.
It teaches the Muslims
to be compassionate towards all and sundry. You'll notice that during the Hajj exercise, we came across many people from various parts of the world.
The scholar says pilgrims should uphold the lessons learned even after going home.
Indeed, the 2017 Hajj has come and gone, but its memories as well as friendships established among people of various ethnic and racial backgrounds will continue to remain in the hearts of the pilgrims. In Makkah, Saudi Arabia, Abdullah Mustafa, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdullahi. In the meantime, lack of awareness is said to be responsible for the shortfall in monies collected from pilgrims for sacrificial animals this year. Jay's Bank, the financial institution vested with the task of undertaking the responsibility on behalf of Nigerian pilgrims, says it is re-strategizing for optimal benefits. Mohammed Hamza Sheikh reports from Makkah, Saudi Arabia.
More than 95% of Nigerian pilgrims are said to be performing Hajj Tamati, which is one of the 3 types of Hajj being performed by Muslims. Hadaya, the slaughtering of animals on the 10th day of the Hajj, is one of the spiritual rites observed by pilgrims of this category. For several years, Nigerian pilgrims and indeed those of other countries have fallen victims of a syndicate that specializes in collecting monies for this purpose without actually slaughtering the animals. The Islamic Development Bank, IDB, a well-established global bank with full knowledge of Islamic norms, was therefore mandated by the Saudi authorities to undertake this duty on behalf of the pilgrims. Subcontracted by the IDB, Jaiz Bank is saddled with the responsibility of slaughtering the animals for the Nigerian pilgrims.
Here, in this case, NACON appoints Jaiz Bank, and in turn, we sign a tripartite agreement with IDB, NACON, and Jaiz Bank to do this collection.
This year's collection, according to Jaiz Bank, falls short of about 4,000 coupons over last year's, but the bank is re-strategizing to ensure full recovery. Meat from the sacrificial animals is given out to the needy both within and outside the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In Mecca, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Muhammad Hamza Sheikh, NTA News.
As captured in the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development Goals adopted in September 2015, the United Nations recognizes that eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions is the greatest global challenge and indispensable requirement for sustainable development. It is on this note that the United Nations General Assembly declared 5th of September annually to raise awareness and provide a common platform to increase social responsibility for charity work. Patience Gyok Christopher takes a look at the importance of the day.
Charity, which connotes the attitude of kindness and understanding towards others, often suggests generosity and benevolence on the less privileged. 5th September is served as International Day of Charity, which recognizes the role of charity in alleviating humanitarian crisis and human suffering within a nation. What role does charity play in the Nigerian context?
It's a call to duty. It's not a thing to relax and say, look, we have done so much, so that let us roll our drums and be dancing and drinking or what have you. There's still a lot to do, especially in our country, where we have been besieged by different drums of war, and now we have even been ravaged by flood, and so there are different needs, and so it has to be dealt with.
Charity promotion of dialogue, solidarity and mutual understanding among people. It is also seen as the way to reduce crime rates in the society. Some say charity is an act of showing love, care and helping the less privileged and the needy.
Charity does not imply giving money, only money. People can give their energy, people can give their talent, people can give their, their time. to quickly go and see and wake up the person who has been ravaged by flood and say, look, we can help you carry this away. Those who have means of transport, for instance, can assist them to move their things away. If you go to the northeast, there are people who have no place to stay. And if you have 1 or 2 rooms in your house, can you invite 2 or 3 people to come and stay with you?
Every one of us, we should endeavor to do a little to ease out pressure for others. Driver, mechanic, shoemaker, barber, and all that. All of these people, they are part and parcel. And there's a little way you can make people comfortable.
The International Day of Charity by the United Nations advised all member states, both international and regional governments, as well as civil society, to commemorate the day in an appropriate manner by encouraging humanitarian services. The International Day of Charity is also the anniversary of Mother Teresa, who spent her years reaching out to the needy. In Abuja, Patience Giyoko Christopher, NTA News.
And talking sports now, the Nigerian Television Authority and the Nigerian Football League Management Company have signed an MOU for the coverage of Nigerian Football League matches from next session. The two organizations also agreed to form a company to serve the sports and entertainment industries. Details of this will come your way in our subsequent bulletins. International Olympic Committee rewards Nigeria's Maria Usman with her 2008 Beijing Olympics bronze medal as Roger Federer crashes out of the US Open. Tamara Ebiwe brings us more on Sports Update.
Minister of Youth and Sports Development Solomon Dalung has reassured athletes of continued support by the federal government as they strive to bring glory to the nation. Dalung was speaking in Abuja Thursday when weightlifter Miriam Usman was decorated with a Beijing 2008 Olympic bronze medal after the silver and bronze medalists from that event, Olha Koropka of Ukraine and Kazakhstan's Maria Grabovskaya, were suspended by the International Olympic Committee for failing a drugs test following a reanalysis of their doping samples from 2008.
I sincerely believe that when the activities of Rio 2016 will be reviewed, more medals that miss their way into wrongful countries will start navigating towards Nigeria.
All is set for the 3rd edition of National Youth Games, which begin in Ilorin, Kwara State, Saturday, with athletes from more than 30 states set to compete in 25 sporting events. Organizers maintain that the series is a viable avenue of discovering future champions for the nation.
Any misgiving at this level will affect our participation in future age group competitions, especially internationally. In
tennis, Roger Federer says he never felt in a safe place physically and mentally during a US Open campaign that ended with a 7-5, 3-6, 7-6, 6-4 quarterfinal defeat by Juan Martín del Potro Thursday, dashing his hopes of winning a 20th Grand Slam title for now and taking the #1 ranking from Rafael Nadal. With sports updates, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.